When I say the word church, what comes to mind? Perhaps that word creates thoughts and feelings that are negative for you. Bad experience or unfavorable opinions can do that. On the other hand, that word may hold a meaning for you that's warm and welcoming and deeply rooted in your spirit. Maybe the word just means a certain kind of building or a service people attend on Sunday. Perhaps the word church leaves you empty and doesn't have much meaning for you at all. And that's why you've joined me today. Whatever your reasons, the next few minutes will likely expand your understanding of church. It's my hope that the meaning you attach to the word church gets stripped to its true essence, because truthfully, it's meant to inspire you, include you, and infuse you with hope. So stick around. I believe there's something here that your soul needs to hear. The concept behind the word church, or ekklesia in Greek, didn't have spiritual undertones originally. In fact, it was a common word that meant a called out assembly. It would have been used if a town crier had called locals from their homes to gather in the square to hear a special announcement. That gathering would have been considered the ekklesia. Toward the middle of the first century, however, ekklesia, or church, started to take on a more specific meaning. It was a time when people from all walks of life, different cultures and ethnicities, with various socioeconomic positions and educational levels, became intentionally united with one another out of their love for each other and the one who had called them to a new way of life. These people lived differently, remarkably so, with regards to how they related to the world around them and to each other. Everyone started to notice, and the word church was designated to them and has remained so ever since. A late first century document known as the Letter to Diognetus provides a first-hand witness description of how the kind of folks who were part of the church when the word took form. Listen to these excerpts and tell me if it doesn't expand your understanding of church. It says, "They are not distinguished from other men by country language, nor by customs which they observe. They live in their own countries, but they do so as those who are just passing through. As citizens, they participate in everything with others, yet they endure everything as if they were foreigners. It is while following the customs of natives in clothing, food, and the rest of ordinary life that they display to us their wonderful and admittedly striking way of life. They exist in the flesh, but they do not live by the flesh. They pass their days on earth, but they are citizens of heaven. They obey the prescribed laws, all while surpassing laws by their lives. They love all men and are persecuted by all. They are poor, yet make many rich. They lack everything, yet they overflow in everything. They are insulted and repay the insult with honor. They do good, yet are punished as evildoers. When punished, they rejoice as if raised from the dead. They are assailed by the Jews, persecuted by the Greeks, yet those who hate them are unable to give any reason for their hatred." What would cause people to live happily in the world, yet not within the system of the world? An even better question might be, who could cause people to live in the world so differently? Whose call is compelling enough to gather in radically distinctive unity for? For these answers, we turn to another ancient text. In the book of Matthew 16, verse 18, Jesus declares that he will build his church, literally call people out from the kingdom of the world to live in the kingdom of heaven. He started by calling out one man, Simon. Then he changed the name by which Simon would be called to Peter. This series of callings culminated in the promise that Jesus would continue to call people to follow him. And when they accept his invitation, they become part of his church, his called out ones, a movement so strong that the gates of hell cannot overcome it. The church also enjoys the sacrificial love of Jesus. This love is so profound, it's described as a marriage, and the church is the bride. The commitment between the two is absolute, and the betrothal is secure. Like any good marriage, it's not a 50-50 contract where if you do this, then I'll do that. Rather, both give 100% of themselves to the other. See, Jesus' love is wide and long and high and deep and fills his church with the fullness of God. In fact, nothing can separate the church from his love. Not life or death, the present or the future, or any other power, whether natural or supernatural. It's this perfect love that enables his people to live within the world courageously, but not like the world in fear. Jesus is also identified as the head of the church, and his followers as the body. This is a description of meaning and purpose that functions in unity even though it has many parts. Each person brings their own uniqueness and gifts to serve the high purposes of Christ and his mission to rescue the world from the darkness and death. When he knit each one together in their mother's womb, he already had good things planned out for them to do. It's this high calling that puts passions into service with an appetite for His goodness rather than handing people over to their appetites and enslaved by their passions. Jesus is the guide and protector of the church, like a shepherd who takes care of his flock. Because He is the good shepherd, His people lack nothing. He knows them and they know Him. They come when He calls and He lays down His life to save them, but like all good shepherds, He can tell the difference between sheep and goats, even if people can't. And He promises to separate any harmful goats from His flock when the time is right. Knowing He has the final say enables the church to live victoriously over internal and external threats. The people can rejoice and smile in spite of hardships because they know that every knee will someday bow and every mouth will someday confess that He is Lord. At this point in human history, the church and its 2.3 billion members worldwide is the physical manifestation of Christ that represents Him in the world. It is His hands to offer help in times of need, His feet to go to any who are lost, and His voice to deliver good news of freedom from all that entangles. It is His instrument to shine brightly amid darkness and confusion and despair and preserve the means of hope, truth, and abundant life. Whether you are familiar with the concept of church or not, I hope these few minutes have sufficiently piqued your desire to know and experience a community like this. For those actively involved in the church, we have a path marked out to pursue and work to do. Let's get on with it. For those curious about the church, lean into your curiosity and learn all you can. There are links below this video. Check them out. For those who remain skeptical or even cynical, I invite you into a conversation. We'd love to get to know you, and Jesus knows what's happened or not happened and how that dominates your thoughts. There's freedom if you want to receive it. Use the link below to contact us. Now, from the book of Revelation, Jesus says, "To the one who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To the one who overcomes, I will grant to eat from the tree of life, which is in the paradise of God."